Good morning, class 10th. As you all know, we are doing chapter number 1, Nationalism in Europe from History. We have started this chapter last week. So far we have covered Unit 1. We are doing Unit 2, in which we have already sent 2 videos, one related to the political condition of the Europe in the mid 18th century, and secondly, the social conditions or the middle classes, the rise of middle classes in the Europe in the mid 18th century. Today I will be covering my different topic, which is Unit 2.2 in your textbooks. The topic stands for the liberal nationalism. As in our last class, we were doing the rise of middle class. When middle class rose to power in the early 19th century, they demanded 2 things. They lay importance on 2 things. One was national unity and second was liberal nationalism. When we consider the word liberal nationalism, we have to know that liberalism has been taken its meaning from the word liber. Latin language word liber. Liber means to become free. Its root rise from there. Becoming or having an act of freedom means that middle classes demanded that freedom should be given to all the classes, all the individuals, and equality should be established. Equality before law should be given to everyone. This is a general viewpoint, but politically it means a bit different. Politically, liberal nationalism emphasized that the government should be run by consent. Here the consent means will. You can say an agreement. An agreement which is between the representatives of the people and the people, between the rulers and the people. So if we really want to establish liberal nationalism, or we want to run government by consent, we need to end privileges. We need to put an end to the autocratic rule, that power shouldn't be in the hands of one single rule. We should work for a constitution as well as the elections for the parliament. Not only this, all these things come only when there is inviolability of private property. Inviolability here means that right to freedom and equality status should be given to all, so that everyone should access private property. This was followed in France when National Assembly was formed first of all in 1791. You guys remember, first there were the active citizens. Then it keeps on changing. But the question again comes, when we have to form government or the parliament or the National Assembly, that needs suffrage. Suffrage means right to vote. Question comes, whether the suffrage was granted to everyone? The answer certainly is no. It keeps on changing from time to time. In your previous class also we have done that women were not considered equal in the France. They were given right to vote in the year 1946. They were not supposed to take or participate in the political activities. Anyway, liberal nationalism was continuing in this direction, but it also laid impact in the economic spheres. As earlier spoken, liberalism says that there should be inviolability of private property, which can only happen when the freedom of markets to be given. Whosoever want to produce in any amount should be allowed to do so. In such situations, there should be abolition of state-imposed restrictions. No restriction should be followed by any government. there should be a freedom of movement of goods and capitals in all the parts of Europe. Moreover, if freedom is given, ultimately there will be the emergence of the new middle class. अब न्यू मिडिल क्लास को लेकर देयर हैज बीन कोटेड एन एग्जाम्पल इन योर बुक्स विच स्टेटेड दैट कि व्हेन इट वाज हैपनिंग तो दे टुक अ एग्जाम्पल फ्रॉम जर्मनी. Although Germany at that time was not at all a nation state, it was headed by Prussia. आप एक नया वर्ड याद करेंगे, Prussia. Prussia was actually a confederation. Confederation means a group. हिंदी में एग्जैक्ट मीनिंग बोला जाता है समूह. It was a confederation of 39 different states. These all 39 confederated states had their own currency. They had their own weight and measures. आपकी बुक में there is example that in 1833 there were two places. One is Hamburg, दूसरा is Nuremberg. If a person has to travel from Hamburg to Nuremberg, it has to cross 11 custom barriers. जिसे आप चुंगी कहते हैं ना, आपको टिकट कटाना पड़ता है दूसरी जगह में जाने के लिए. Doesn't matter. अब whenever you have to cross a custom barrier, you have to pay 5% of its tax. चलिए कोई दिक्कत की बात नहीं है, दे देंगे, टैक्स भी दे देंगे. But problem comes because all these states have different currencies as well as rates and measures. Result of which was that took an example of a cloth जिसे हम कहते थे L. ठीक है, L को जैसे हम कहते हैं ना 4 मीटर कपड़ा दे दीजिए, तो उस समय जर्मनी में कहा जाता था give me L of cloth. इस L का साइज वेरी करता था. If we have to measure same length in Frankfurt, it would be 1 L is equal to 54.7 meters. In Mainz, it was 55.1 meters. In Nuremberg, it was 65.6 meters. In Friedberg, it was 53.5. कहीं कोई है ही नहीं, तो भाई इसका 5% भी तो डिफरेंट होगा. आपको दोबारा से हर चीज मेजर करनी पड़ती थी, which was quite time consuming. It put obstacles in the economic exchange. How we can move goods from one place to another. In such a situation, when we talk about middle classes demand, middle classes ने कहा really if we want to get into trade, we should have a unified economic territory. एक देश का होना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है, और इसके ज्यादा भी हमारे लिए जरूरी है कि हमें एक ऐसी कस्टम यूनियन बनाए जो कि सबके लिए कॉमन काम कर सके. इन सच अ सर्कमस्टांस ज़ोलिवेरिन वाज एस्टैब्लिश्ड एज अ कस्टम यूनियन इन प्रुशिया इन 1834. इस ज़ोलिवेरिन के बनते ही सारे ट्रेड बैरियर्स को खत्म कर दिया गया. Zollverein also reduced the currency. There were 30 currencies at that time if you are traveling from Hamburg to Nuremberg, but now they were reduced to 2. सिर्फ 2 ही currencies जो थी वो रह गई थी. एक चीज जिसके कारण से इकोनॉमिक लिबरलिज्म पॉसिबल हो पाया वो था बेटा जी हमारा कस्टम यूनियन ज़ोलिवेरिन का बनना, और दूसरा रीजन था रेलवेज का आना. Railways unified the different cities, different provisions and regions of that time. They used to carry goods and capital on a mass bulk. So, liberal nationalism was successful in a way. How it came to an end, this we will do in our next class. Thank you.